So who is that person who taught you to ride a bike? How about tie your shoes? Maybe a tie. Which parent, family member, or friend helped you master parallel parking, if in fact you actually even know how to do it? Who was that mentor that apprenticed you in your career? So much of our learning, the knowledge we possess, has come directly from those who have intentionally come alongside of you and me to pass on a particular skill set. Sure, we learn from reading books and watching videos on YouTube, but the most effective learning comes from putting something into practice alongside someone who actually knows what they're doing. That's one of the reasons I believe God asked every Christ follower to be people who equip others. In order to be a great group leader, we need to be equippers. One of the end goals for every leader should be to replace yourself by passing on your skills and knowledge to others. This is exactly what Jesus did. Consider this for a moment. Jesus was God in the flesh. Ever since things went sideways in the Garden of Eden, the world awaited a Savior, the Messiah, to come and set things right. 2,000 years ago, Jesus enters the scene. His primary purpose for coming was to rescue the world from sin and death. That was a unique responsibility that only he could accomplish. Yet as he establishes the church, Jesus spends the majority of his public ministry giving away leadership and responsibility to a ragtag group of untrained, uneducated fishermen, tax collectors, and other ordinary people. See, Jesus surrounds himself with 12 guys and gives more focused energy into a group of 3 with the express purpose of letting them lead the world-changing movement we know as the local church. See, sometimes as leaders, we think that in order to lead well, we have to control everything. We cling to our degrees and our experience and buy into the fallacy that no one could do it as well as we can. Or on the flip side, sometimes we're too intimidated to jump in and make a difference because we just don't feel qualified or equipped enough. As we look into the life of Jesus, we see what great leaders do. They replace themselves. Jesus knew that ultimately he would lay down his life and die on the cross to win the world back. If he didn't equip the disciples, who would lead his movement when it was time for him to go back to his rightful place by God's side in heaven? That's why throughout the Gospels, we see Jesus intentionally pouring into his crew and passing on his knowledge to them. Just before Jesus leaves to go back to God, this is what he says to his disciples: "Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you." Don't miss the significance of this. Jesus, our rescuer, was sent by God not only to save us, but to send us. That's what leaders do. They launch others into the adventure of following Jesus. If this is the example of Jesus, then it must be our pattern as well. Real leaders pass on what they know so others can come along beside them and live on beyond their influence. That's lasting impact. So what are some tangible ways we can equip those we lead? Let me give you 4 practical ways to get you started. First, lead your group well. This may sound kind of like a no-brainer, but there's no better way to equip others than by living out the values alongside of them. If you want to help others reach their God-given potential, we have to model the behavior we want repeated. Maybe you've heard the saying, "Do as I say, not as I do." People gravitate towards an example over theory every time. If you want to help shape great leaders, be a great leader. Care, equip, guide, and grow, and your group members will follow suit. Second, share responsibility. As a leader, you'll be tempted to own everything. That's a big mistake. No matter what kind of group you find yourself in, you'll have an opportunity to share responsibility. Doing so actually creates more buy-in from those in your group. So if you lead a group that meets at a home, have someone volunteer to host a group or bring the snack. If you meet on campus or in your living room, invite others to lead a discussion, maybe pray for the group, or keep everyone in the loop by communicating with them from week to week. Remember, great group leaders don't hoard responsibility. They promote participation any way possible. All right, third, spot the makings of a great leader. As leaders, we want everyone to take a next step. Yet when it comes to someone stepping into a leadership role, we have to look for characteristics of a great leader. Look for people in your group who may exhibit a few of these key qualities. Humility. They care about others more so than themselves, and they don't make it all about them. Teachability. They're eager to learn and listen. They're not always the first to speak. Curiosity. They ask great questions and value hearing others' perspectives. And last, intentionality. They show up on time and are engaged in what's happening in the group. Okay, the last tip to help get you started. Have an I see in you conversation. As you see potential in others, call it out of them. This is what Jesus did when he looked at Peter and said, "Your name is Simon, but I think you're more of a Peter. You are a rock." When I look at you, I don't see just some fisherman. I see someone who has the potential to lead my movement. Look for opportunities to speak life into those you are hoping to invest in, and be intentional and clear about what you hope they can become. Don't let leadership end with you. Replace yourself by passing on your skills and knowledge to others. It's what great leaders do.